Recording in progress.
Om Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Krishno Rakshatono Jagatraya Guruhu. Krishnam Namasyamyaham. Krishne Namarasitravo Vinihata. Krishnaya Tasmai Namaha. Krishna Deva Samuthitam Jagadidam. Krishnasya Dasosmiham. Tishtati Sarvametadakhilam. He Krishna Samrakshamam. Jai Srimanarayana. Blessings of Sri Chinajaya Swamiji. We're continuing Bhagavad Gita. We are in chapter 8. We finished sloka 18. Today we'll start with sloka 19. Again, all important slokas. Learning about who will not be taking birth again, who will be taking birth again, and today we'll learn about those who do not take birth again, on what path they travel after they leave the body, and those who take birth again, on what path they'll travel and come back and take birth again. So we will cover those. Start with sloka 19 today. Hope you can see.
Yes, we can see in there.
Please chant. Bhutagramassa evayam.
Bhutagramassa evayam.
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
Bhutva praliyate.
Ratrayagame vasa partha. Prabhavatyharagame. Let's chant together.
Bhutagramassa evayam. Bhutva praliyate. Ratyagame vasa partha. Prabhavatyharagame.
So Lord Krishna is continuing. So in the previous sloka, in 18th sloka, Lord Krishna mentioned, just a quick summary, is at the beginning of four-headed Brahma's day, all beings are clearly manifested. They are whatever bodies that we see, they are formed. Brahma combines the material nature with the jivatmas. Okay, and that's how all these bodies are formed. So from unmanifested state of that, the material and material, it becomes manifested into the various bodies. And at the beginning of the night, the entire material is dissolved back into Brahma. It goes back into unmanifested state. In this sloka, sloka 19, Lord Krishna is saying, Hey Partha, O Arjuna, Saha ayam bhutagramaha eva. That manifested state, which is the collection of beings itself. Okay, Saha, it's talking about that, right? Saha is that, referring to that. What is that? That unmanifested, which became manifested into collection of all beings. Bhutagramaha, in collection of all beings. Bhutva bhutva, after taking birth again and again. Okay. Praliyate, dissolved, they get dissolved. Avasaha, without any control on themselves, by themselves, irresistibly, not according to their wish. right? So it is not like these the bodies can say, oh, I don't want to be dissolved, right? They don't have that mm, you know control, right? So at the um, end of the day, that is beginning of the night time, they all get dissolved. Okay, Ratragame, at the approach of night, at the beginning of night. Okay, so very simple. Beginning of the day, they are created. All these bodies are created from unmanifested state to manifested state. This manifested state is what we see as all the collection of all beings. And then at the end of the day, at the beginning of night, they all go back into unmanifested state. They all get dissolved back into Brahma. Okay. Punaha, after that, aha agame, ahaha agame, at the approach of the day, at the beginning of the day, Prabhavati comes into existence, takes birth again, takes form again. So this cycle goes. So the beginning of the day, they become, they're manifested, they're created, they're formed, right? And bhutva bhutva, after taking birth again and again and again in the daytime, right? Not like they're created one time and then the form say continues throughout the day. No, it is this form gets recycled, right? The bodies, I mean, these atmas take different bodies, so they that's what we are calling as birth. So taking birth again and again, all these bodies, they at the end of the day they get dissolved and go back into Brahma, and next beginning of the day they get created again. So the cycle continues. Okay.
They go back to Brahma or Paramatma, sir?
Brahma.
Analogical.
Brahma. See, I mean, Brahma is also part of Paramatma only,
Yeah.
right? So it's the entire universe is Paramatma's body only. So Brahma is not dissolved. That's what I'm saying. So Brahma's day starts when at the beginning of his day, he starts the creation, and it goes back into into him again. And then at the end of night, at the end of the day or beginning of night. So throughout the night, it will be in an unmanifested state. You cannot recognize this is, we have these 5 elements, right? You cannot differentiate between these 5 elements. It's almost like this dark place where you cannot recognize anything. As I was saying in the previous section, right? I mean, very this is very close to what we learn, what we understand now is black holes, right? All the material goes back into the black hole, like that. So where you cannot differentiate, it's so packed together, we cannot differentiate. Same way, I mean, just an analogy. And the current science is, is not whatever we learned so far is not directly contradicting what is there in the Shastras, right? It's not like Earth is flat. If the scriptures are saying like Earth is flat and Sun is rotating around Earth, that is what is written in some of the scriptures, not the Vedic scriptures. I'm talking about some other scriptures. Obviously, after we come to know, then it's wrong, right? After the science developed. So whatever science is advances are happening in science, they're closer to our Shastra, but science cannot explain everything that is there in the Shastra, cannot reject also at the same time. So we still have a lot of lot of advancement left in science. Okay, so then what happens So we talked about only one day, right? One day of Brahma. And the next day starts again. So like that, after 100 years of Brahma's life. So 360 days in year and 100 years of Brahma. Then Brahma is also dissolved. The material that is formed as Brahma Loka and Brahma, even that is dissolved and goes back into Paramatma. Then next Brahma is created. Paramatma creates next Brahma and assigns the duty of creation to that Brahma. And then Brahma starts. So basically Paramatma will teach Brahma to do the creation, give the material and all the jivatmas, and then say, okay, says you start the creation. Brahma starts the creation. So the cycle continues.
Every Brahma has to go through this 100
Yes.
compare.
The lifetime of Brahma, after one lifetime of Brahma is over, then another Brahma starts.
So the Brahma is not subjected to the way normal human beings, like, how, like, there's, like, we have some life, but some may die before even, like, say 40 years. Like that Brahma has like
Whatever is the duration, the life assigned to that Brahma will live.
okay.
Right? So it is not that Brahma can decide, okay, I don't want to live anymore. Right? Such things don't happen. So whatever is the life assigned, that is 100 years of Brahma. After that is over, even Brahma, the Atma that is taken birth as Brahma in Brahma's form, right, is also like us. Deva Manusha Tiryakstha is belonging to Deva category of people, Deva category of beings. So at the end of Brahma's life, whatever is the life assigned to that body of Brahma is over, then that body is also dissolved. Now, along with that body, the entire universe is dissolved. I mean, whatever Brahma has created also dissolves, right? And goes back into Paramatma. The one thing to note is that Jivatmas continue. I mean, from one one daytime, Jivatmas taking birth again and again, right? So we saw that simple calculations with some assumptions. 1 second of Brahma is 10,000 births for us. Okay, assuming 100 years life and certain some simple assumptions. So imagine 1 second of Brahma, we take 10,000 births. So 10,000 potential karmic bondages we carry from one birth to another birth. And how many seconds are there in one day? Right? You multiply those many seconds times 10,000. After taking birth, I think it's about 86,400 or something. I don't remember exactly. So after taking birth so many times, accumulating or clearing the karmic bondage, right? We go back into Brahma. There will be no creation for 1,000 Mahayugas. Okay? That is 4.3 billion years. So then it's not like the Jivatmas all their karmic bondage will be cleared, right? No. They will take birth the next day with this, the karmic bondage, whatever is assigned for that particular life. So the karmic bondage is not cleared because of the dissolution. Okay, so we take trillions of births in one lifetime of Brahma, and then I mean trillions is trillions and trillions maybe. Then the next Brahma comes, and then we take birth again.
I think, I mean, I clarified one to Ushaikar's question. So when Brahma is there, will dissolve into Brahma. That's what he said, or will dissolve into
Yeah.
Paramatma. Dissolve Brahma. Okay, yeah. After 100 years, will dissolve into Paramatma. Not that matters, but yeah, it's curious.
I mean, this Brahma is also part of Paramatma.
Right, agree. Yeah. It's part of
So there's nothing like Brahma is separate and Paramatma is separate. Yeah. So when we say Brahma is creating, it is not like Brahma again. Brahma cannot create by himself. It is Paramatma who is creating through Brahma. Brahma is just an instrument. Okay, so all of us, I mean, it's the same concept for anyone, right?
Yeah.
If just because I am thinking that I am creating, I don't become the creator. It is Paramatma only. And the creation happens, right? But because I thought I am the one who is creating, I acquire karmic bondage. Just because I am thinking it will not, I don't become the creator, right? If whatever I am talking right now, just because I am talking, if I say, oh, I am talking, right? I am acquiring karmic bondage. But it is Paramatma only who's making this happen. And with the Acharya's blessings, with Paramatma's blessings only, we are doing it. So when Brahma is doing it, he's not doing it independently. If he thinks that way, then he will be acquiring karmic bondage. But he wouldn't. Right. Okay. We'll go to sloka, 20th sloka.
Sir, but then when that period where it is paused, right? It's on hold, and then after that, when it's released again, Jivatma will continue with their karma kandas, right? I mean, the cycle of birth and death. So
Yes.
that period, Jivatma will be on like what state, sir? Like because there's no body, right? It will be.
No, Jivatma will get another body at the beginning of Brahma's day.
Okay, but until then, like.
Yeah,
Because
Jivatma will be, all the Jivatmas will be separate. Material will be separate. Okay. And you cannot differentiate. They will be in a state of what is called tamas. You will not be able to differentiate, is what they say. It's not that the matter is destroyed. It's not that all the Jivatmas are destroyed. Jivatmas will remain and matter also remains, but it gets, all of them go back into Brahma, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and then Brahma takes out, go back into Brahma. We can take it as maybe there is a place where Brahma will keep it, or maybe it's part of Brahma. It doesn't matter for us, right? So we shouldn't be thinking Brahma is like human body,
Okay, sir.
like 5 meters, 2 meters, or 1 meter human body, Brahma. So.
But can we
Right.
say they remain in a subtle form, sir?
Yes, I mean the form doesn't change for Atma.
Yeah.
There is no change in the form. It will carry the karmic bondage. The form doesn't change, and the karmic bondage will not be cleared. the form for the matter's form changes. Okay, it is kind of recycled, right? But it is not completely destroyed. The form changes, goes back into Brahma, and then the cycle starts again at the beginning of Brahma's day. After 100 years, even Brahma goes back into Paramatma. Then another Brahma has to be created. Another Brahma will be created. That Brahma will be assigned the duty of creation, and that starts it. That Brahma will start the creation again. Okay. 20th sloka. Please chant. Parastasmatu bhavonyah
परस्तस्मात् भावोऽन्यः
avyakto vyaktat sanatanah
अव्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः
yassa sarveshu bhuteshu
यस्य सर्वेषु भूतेषु
nasyatsu navinasyati.
नश्यत्सु न विनश्यति
Let's chant together.
परस्तस्मात्
भावोऽन्यः
अव्यक्तो
व्यक्तो
सनातनः स
Yassa
सर्वेषु
sarveshu
भूतेषु
bhuteshu
नश्यत्सु न विनश्यति
We talked about in the previous two slokas, talked about the matter. Matter is formed into bodies at the beginning of Brahma's day, and then the matter takes birth again and again in various bodies. And then at the end of the day, they go back into Brahma, they get dissolved, the form changes. You cannot differentiate the matter into different elements, right? That's a dissolution. And then and the creation starts again. Now, Lord Krishna here saying, Paraha tasmat tu bhavaha anyaha. Tu, however, paras tasmat tu, paraha tasmat avyaktat. Paraha is higher, greater. Tasmat avyaktat. Than that unmanifested. Avyakta is unmanifested. Okay? Higher than that unmanifested. Prakruti. Right? Like last sloka we talked about Prakruti. This is Bhuta Gramaha, collection of beings. This is all Prakruti. That higher than that, Anyaha Bhavaha, there is another entity. Avyaktaha Sanatanaha, that is not perceivable through senses. Sanatanaha, eternal. So one is avyaktaha that become vyaktaha. Okay. So which is changing form, right? Getting created, taking birth, getting dissolved. Now, anyaha bhava, there is another entity. So this is very important, right? So there is another entity that is also unmanifested. That is, avyaktaha. Always avyaktaha. Right? Here, avyaktaha is, it is not perceivable through our senses. It is not perceivable through our senses. I think we'll mute somebody. How do we mute? Okay. So there is another entity that we cannot perceive, right? We can't see the form. with our senses. Yaha means that which, that entity. Sarveshu bhuteshu nasyatsu, right? That entity, I mean, we can say when all beings, sarveshu bhuteshu nasyatsu, when all beings are dissolved, or dissolved is the right word, maybe not destroyed. When all beings are dissolved, saha na vinasyati. That entity, that higher entity, which we cannot perceive, which is there in all beings, sarveshu bhuteshu, which is there in all beings. Okay, na vinasyati, does not get destroyed, does not get dissolved, does not change form. So Paramatma has clearly stated that there are two different entities here. One is Prakruti, which changes form. Higher than that is another entity, that is Jivatmas, collection of Jivatmas, which are not perceivable through our senses. They are eternal. Even though the bodies that, bodies in which these Jivatmas were residing, they get destroyed. The bodies get destroyed or dissolved. Atmas, Jivatmas, do not get destroyed, do not change form. Okay?
Okay.
So, Professor Garu, I mean, so here he used the word Prakruti, right? I thought the Prakruti is something that when it manifests, you have Prakruti, right? So in
Yeah.
unmanifested as well, there's Prakruti kind of thing.
Yeah, so the unmanifested form, right? I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's not like if it's not like the matter is destroyed, right? The matter will be there, but in a different form. We call it as unmanifested, not created form. Okay. Avyaktaha. Vyaktaha is what you can, the created, existing, that you can see, right? But unmanifested is what you cannot see, avyaktaha. So this matter, which is going from unmanifested, avyaktaha state to vyakta state, okay, and then back into avyakta state, that is one entity, that is Prakruti, okay. Now there is another entity which is also avyaktaha, which is present in all these beings, sarveshu bhuteshu, okay. Even though the bodies nasyati, right? They get dissolved, they change form. The atmas which are residing in those bodies, na vinasyati, they do not get, they do not change form, they do not get destroyed or dissolved.
Right. Okay.
Right? So Atma is different. Atma is distinct, superior entity compared to material nature. Atma cannot be perceived through our senses. So how do we perceive Atmas then?
Atma realization.
Through our sense, through the scriptures. So we cannot see it with our senses. We cannot feel it. We cannot touch it. We cannot smell or taste, right? So the only way we can recognize that Atmas exist is through the scriptures. Okay, the knowledge, you know, we cannot say I'll prove it. You know, I'll believe it only when I see it, when I experience it. You know, and then will never be. There are so many things that we do not. I mean, in science also, we don't see a lot of things, but we believe it, right? None of us have seen electrons. Even I was surprised that actually Sri Swamiji quoted this. Like electrons, you cannot pinpoint an electron and say this is electron. You can only tell with some kind of a probability, certainty that an electron exists in a particular position. There's no way you can just simply say or separate it out and then put it on the wall. But we believe it, right? Just an example. So we are able to get that knowledge through the scriptures. Similarly, the knowledge of Atma, we are getting it through the scriptures, and we'll be able to perceive it, you know, with the knowledge of the scriptures. And then Atma is eternal and not changing. It goes from one body to another body, but still does not change. It carries the karmic bondage from one body to another body. Okay. So when body is destroyed, Atma is not getting destroyed. So, I mean, just summarizing some of the points that are embedded in this particular sloka. Okay. Okay, we'll look at sloka 21. Please chant. Avyaktoksara ityuktah tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Let's chant together. Avyaktoksara ityuktah tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Very, very important sloka. Lord Krishna is saying, Avyaktaha. How to mute? Avyaktaha aksharaha iti uktaha. So, in the previous sloka, Lord Krishna talked about there is a higher entity, which is Atma, right? Which does not change, is not getting destroyed, even though bodies are. So this higher entity, which is described, iti uktaha, which is described as avyaktaha aksharaha, as imperceptible, we cannot perceive it through our senses. Avyaktaha aksharaha is indestructible, unchanging. Okay. Tam paramam gatim ahuhu. Tamahuhu means they say, who are they? Knowers of Vedas. Knowers of Vedas say that Paramam Gatim, that it is supreme or superior goal. Okay. So that Atma is the superior goal. Okay. Yam Prapya, after attaining which, Nani Vartante, do not take birth again. Tam Mama Paramam Dhamaha. Sorry, Tat Mama Paramam Dhamaha. Tad Dhama Paramam Mama is there. That is my superior dwelling place. Mama is mine. So Lord Krishna is talking here. So Mama is referring to Lord Krishna, is referring to himself, Paramatma. That Atma, that is referring to that. That is that. So what is that? That is the Atma. The Atma which we say as imperceptible, indestructible, and which everybody says as the supreme goal, after attaining which there is no birth again. So that is after attaining a state of pure Atma. Okay. So that is the superior goal. After attaining that state, there is no birth again. That Atma, which is in pure form, is my superior abode, he said. My superior dwelling place. So now, Paramatma is, is living, is staying, not dwelling. Dwelling is the right place. Is dwelling in the Atma. Okay, he's saying that when Atma in its pure form, right? When Atma reaches pure form, when it attains that supreme state of pure form, not having karmic bondage, it does not take birth again, right? That form, that Atma is my superior living place, dwelling place. Atma does not vanish and enter Paramatma as if it is not there in Paramatma before, right? As if it is separate from Paramatma. See, these are some of the things that we think, Paramatma is somewhere, I am Atma, right? Atma has to reach Paramatma. And, right? That's what we keep thinking. That is not the right knowledge. Paramatma is there everywhere, including us, that is Atma. Paramatma is spreading in the entire material nature. Paramatma is spreading all the Jivatmas, is present in all the Jivatmas. But he's calling the pure state of Atma as a superior dwelling place, not simply dwelling place, no. He's not saying that, when there is when Atma reaches the supreme goal of pure Atma, right? Not having karmic bondage at all, then I will start living in me. He didn't say that, right? So he is present in us, Atma. He is present in the entire material nature. But when the Atma reaches that state of pure Atma, when we reach that state of the pure Atma, with having no karmic bondage, then we do not take birth again. That becomes his superior dwelling place. So, Lord Krishna talked about these two slokas, the previous sloka 20 and 21. He's talking about Atma reaching its pure state, right? So that is Atma reaching the state of self-realization. That is the state of Kaivalya, right? So when I'm Kaivalyarthi, I want self-realization. I'm seeking self-realization. When I attain the state of that self-realization, where I'm cleared of all the karmic bondage, okay, that state, from that state also there is no birth again, right? That so Lord Krishna is saying that it is Paramatma's superior dwelling place, okay. Right? So as long as the Atma is carrying karmic bondage, it goes through one birth to another birth. It takes birth again and again. When Atma reaches this supreme goal of self-realization, Paramam Gatim, when it reaches the pure form, then there is no birth. The Atma does not take another body. It does not have to come back and take birth again in another body. There is no birth for Atma, and hope you understand that, right? So Atma is as is, but we call, when something is born, we call, took birth, right? The baby is born. The Atma inside the baby is not the one that is born. It's a material. The Atma took a form. I mean, Atma occupied a body, or Atma is staying in that body. That we are calling it as a birth. Okay. So Lord Krishna is making very, very clear, those who are focused, those who are seeking wealth and power, they reach a state where they will enjoy that wealth and power for a long time, and then they have to take birth again. We learned that. Second is those who are seeking self-realization, seeking Atma, even that is given by Paramatma only. They reach a state from where they don't have to take birth again. Okay. Now the third is God realization, God seeker. Okay. So Lord Krishna talks about God seeker. What each of these people have to do is also given there, and then making clear that one, the Aishwaryadis take birth, then Kaivalyadis don't take birth again, and now God seekers, they will not take birth again. So Lord Krishna is going to explain that. Okay, we'll move on to sloka 22. Purushassa parah partha
Purushassa parapārtha
bhaktya labhyastvananyaya
bhaktya labhyasvananyaya
yasyantasthani bhutani
yasyantasthāni bhūtāni
yena sarvamidam tatam.
yena sarvamidam tatam.
Let's chant together. Purushassa
Parapārtha
parapārtha
bhaktya labhyasvananyaya
bhaktya
यस्यान्तस्थानि भूतानि येन सर्वमिदं ततम्.
Lord Krishna is saying, Hey Partha, or Arjuna, Yasya Bhutani Antastani, of whose universal body, Yasya is of whose, okay, or in whom. Literal translation is of you, of whose, but in English you can translate it as in whom. Bhutani antastani, all beings are dwelling within. Antastani, right? So, in whom all these beings are dwelling, yena sarvamidam tatam, by whom this entire universe is pervaded, saha purusha, parah purushaha, that supreme purusha, who is Paramatma, supreme purusha, bhaktya labhyaha, is attained by bhakti only, attained by bhakti, bhaktya with bhakti, labhyaha, attained. Tu ananyaya, but by nothing else. Okay? So, in whom all these beings are dwelling, by whom this entire universe is pervaded, that Supreme Purusha is attained by bhakti only and by nothing else. Okay? So, Jnani is the one who is seeking God, right? They have to have that devotion, the bhakti. That's the only thing that is needed, right? They have to remember Paramatma. We learned that in the previous lokas. Remember him always with love, right? So we're calling that as bhakti. We'll learn more about bhakti in a future chapter. So Paramatma is attained by bhakti only and by nothing else. So if we are not, bhakti is having him as the only goal, right? Thinking of him alone, not having any other desires, not seeking anything else, right? So if we are practicing those principles, by those principles alone, we attain Paramatma. And he defined Paramatma as the one in whom all these bodies are dwelling. We are all part of him, right? And he's pervading all these beings. Okay, pervading the material nature, pervading the jivatmas. So we'll know more about Paramatma as we go along, but very short and simple. By whom this entire universe is pervaded, and in whom this entire universe is dwelling. Okay, we are all part of him. So, like a hand, for example, hand is part of our body. This hand is also, referred to by this body only, right? Don't say refer it separately, right? So in some cases where we are referring ourselves as Paramatma, it is not that we become Paramatma, it is we are part of him, that's why we are referring to him, right? So we belong to him, we are part of him. So we are not separate from him, never separate from him. When I say we, I'm also referring to Atma, not just the material body, right? So material body is the one that gets changing. Its form is changing. Okay, but the Atma form never changes. It is only accumulating karmic bondage or clearing karmic bondage. So with bhakti, the entire karmic bondage can be cleared, and we attain the state of Paramatma. I mean, we attain the state equivalent to Paramatma. Okay. We'll move on to sloka 23. Listen. Yatra kale tvanavrittim
Yatra
Yatra kale
त्वनावृत्ति
आवृत्तिं चैव योगिनः
आवृत्तिं चैव योगिनः
प्रयाता यान्ति तं कालम्
प्रयाता
यान्ति कालम्
कालम्
वक्ष्यामि भरतर्षभ
वक्ष्यामि
भरतर्षभ
Listen together.
यत्र
यत्र
काले
काले त्वनावृत्तिम् आवृत्तिं
आवृत्तिं चैव
चैव
योगिनः
योगिनः
प्रयाता
प्रयाता
यान्ति
यान्ति
तं
तं
कालम्
कालम्
वक्ष्यामि
वक्ष्यामि
भरतर्षभ
भरतर्षभ. Lord Krishna is saying, hey Bharatarshava, Arjuna, tam kalam vakshyami. I declare that time. Vakshyami is say, declare, say, tell. Okay, I declare tam kalam, that time. Yatra kale, in what time? So here, that kala refers to path. Okay, we need to kala is time as well as path. You can. So tam kalam vakshyami. I declare that that path. Yatra kale, in what path? Prayataha yoginaha anavrittim. The yogis departing from the body do not return. Prayataha, traveling. Yoginaha, the yogis. Anavrittim, do not, na avrittim, na anavrittim, do not return. So I declare that path to you, in which path, when yogis travel, they do not return. Cha eva tu, also. So an avrittim yanti, attain return, attain the return, or attain rebirth. So that the path is all silent, right? So I'll show you the path going to New York and also to Washington. Again, you don't say the path that that goes to Washington, right? So that is understood. So I'm going to declare you the path by which this yogis travel. When the yogis travel, or path by which the yogis travel, and they do not take birth again. And also, I will declare to you the path by which others travel and they take birth again. Very simple. Okay. So we may be getting a question, what happens after the Atma leaves the body, right? Where does it go? How does it travel? You know? So Lord Krishna is giving that answer to us. Okay. See here, he referred to yogis are those who do not take birth again. There are two categories who do not take birth again: Jignasuhu and Gnani. Right? Refer to both of them as yogis here, because both of them do not take birth. Okay, so those who are seeking self-realization, or those who are seeking God realization, both of them travel in this path, and then they do not return again. And then everybody else, including the ones who are seeking wealth, they also travel, but including, I will tell you about another path by which others travel and then they take birth again. Okay.
But this Kaivalyardhis don't remain as Kaivalyardhis, right? After some time, they also get moksha.
Yeah, they reach a state of self-realization. Okay, where they are happy by themselves. There is no karmic bondage. It is a supreme goal for these Kaivalyarthis that they reach a state of pure Atma with no karmic bondage. Once they reach that state, they do not take birth again.
Yeah, will they get God realization?
No, separate. They're not seeking God, right? How will they? Why would they get God realization? If I'm seeking God realization, then I would get it. If my interest is only self realization, then I will get self realization.
Okay.
Right now, these two are separate. However, one who is traveling in the path of self realization at a point of time realize that there is superior state compared to self realization. Right. So then they will, they'll switch. They'll apply for a different college, and after second year they'll apply for third year in a better college. Just kidding. But yeah, so you realize that, oh my God, what am I thinking here? So then they would apply. They would shift to God realization, seeking God, seeking Paramatma. If they continue, they are so loyal, they continue in the same path, no problem. They will get self-realization. However, it is difficult compared to God realization. Okay. Again, probably they will know that and then they shift, right? This particular path is easy for me, and it is better for me. So let me shift. So if they make that shift, then they become God realization. They will reach that state equivalent to Paramatma where they can serve Paramatma. Okay. So liberation, liberation is typically we use it with God realization, right? But if you are using that word liberation as something where you don't have to take birth, you are liberated from taking birth again, then there are two different places. One is state of self-realization, other one is state of God realization. In state of self-realization, we are always happy by ourselves. Just um, be satisfied, be happy with ourselves. Okay, don't take birth again. And then state of God realization, or in there we are serving Paramatma. Okay, so these two are separately given, and it's for us to choose. If we want to choose self-realization, fine. If you want to choose God realization, that's great, right? Because it is easy and also a better state for us. And so typically moksha is associated with that state where we reach the Paramapadam. So Paramapada is the dwelling place for those who are seeking God, right? They reach that state, they reach that place from where they do not have to take birth again. There in Paramapada, they are serving Paramatma. Supreme destination, Paramapada is supreme destination compared to everything else, compared to other, wealth seekers go to some worlds, right? And then they have to take birth again. So Atma seeker is going to a state, Kaivalya state, where they don't take birth again, but they are not in Paramapada. They're not in that supreme dwelling place. Okay. 24, Sloka 24. Please chant. Agnirjyotirah suklaha
Agnirjyotirah Shuklaha
Shanmasa Uttarayanam
Shanmasa Uttarayanam
Tatra Prayata Gachanti
Tatra Prayata Gachanti
Brahma Vido Janaha.
Brahma Vido Janaha
Let's chant a little bit.
Agnirjyotirah
Shuklaha
Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti
Brahma
Brahma Vido Janaha.
So Lord Krishna is talking about the first path, the path which through which, or path by which the yogis travel, the ones who are seeking self-realization or God realization, when they become successful, right? When they reach that state of self-realized or God realized, they travel on this path. What path is that? Agnihi, okay, is fire. Jyotihi is light. Ahaha is daytime. Suklaha, Sukla Paksha, a lot of you know Sukla Paksha, is a bright fortnight. Shanmasaha Uttarayanam, 6 months of northern course of sun. Uttarayanam, Dakshinayanam, right? Tatra Kale, there in the path, Prayataha Brahmavidaha Janaha. Brahmavidaha Janaha are those who are seeking Atma or seeking God. Atma seeking or God seeking people who travel after departing from the body in that path, which Lord Krishna gave. Agnihi, Jyotihi, Ahaha, Sukla Pakshaha, Shanmasa, Uttarayanam, in that path, right? After they travel in that path, Brahma Gachanti, they attain that state of Brahma. The Brahma has two meanings. One is Atma, another one is Paramatma. Okay, so again, without going into all the details, right? I mean, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atma, right? That is one meaning. So Brahma Gachanti, the attain that state of pure Atma, or they attain the state equivalent to Paramatma. Okay, so this is the path. This is very important. This is called, because it's starting with Agni, right? So it is called Agni here is Archihi is also Agni. So it is called Archiradi. So a lot of times we hear the this Archiradi Marga, right? We travel on the path of Archiradi. So those who travel on this Archiradi path, the path that starts with Agni, that if we travel in that path, there is no coming back again. So one, when we look at it is talking about fire, then light, then time, then 6 months. So one who has to, who needs to attain moksha, do they have to pass away? The Atma has to leave the body only during daytime, in Sukla Paksha time, or Uttarayanam time. Then what happens to if Jnani leaves other time?
I think it will be in a probably state until that period, probably until the right time. The Paramatma, right, keeps him in that state, so that he doesn't start his journey until this happens, probably. Something like that.
No, that's why I asked the question.
Takes longer.
Yeah. So one is Atma cannot choose when the which path that it wants to travel, right? And so it's not like, oh, I want to choose Shukla Paksha and daytime and Uttarayanam and that's not the so Atma does not, even if it tries to choose, right? Even somebody thinks about daytime, it's not guaranteed that they will travel on the Achiradi.
I think Paramatma will keep that Atma in such a state that until that he'll be Paramatma on this side.
Right.
Right
So it is Paramatma who is blessing the Atma to travel in that particular path. Okay. So Atma by itself, by reading this, by getting this knowledge, or somebody decides to do it, never, right? So that is number one. Second is that the fire, light, daytime, Shukla Paksha and Uttarayanam, these are referring to the Devatas, not the, I don't want to go into those because it's getting recorded. So I cannot choose Agni and then light and this day and it's not that is not the real meaning here. When the Atma is eligible to be liberated, when the Atma attains the state of self-realization or God realization, Paramatma enables the Atma to travel in this path, in the path of light. That's why it is, it's also called white path. It is. It starts with Agni, so it is called Archiradi or white path. So Paramatma enables the Atma to travel in this path where the Atma is received by Agni Devata first. Okay. So Agni Devata, it's not like Atma is going through Agni. No. Agni Devata is the one who is receiving that Atma and giving to the next Devata, to the next Devata. And then finally the Atma reaches the reaches the final state. Okay. Either self-realization or God realization. Okay. So got it? This is very important because when I was thinking, Agni means the Agni that we see. Light means, there's light here in the room, or sunlight. So daytime, and then Uttarayanam means to, only those who pass away in Uttarayanam are the ones who are getting liberation. No such thing. This is a perfect Jnani, we thought he will get liberation, but unfortunately he passed away during night time, and then, in Dakshinayanam, so now he cannot get liberation. It's not, God cannot determine based on the time of death, whether to give moksha or not, right? Isn't it? See, we have to, if that was the case, then he should have told in the prerequisites, right? He said, you have to chant Om when you're leaving the body, or you have to remember me when you are leaving the body. So those are the conditions for reaching that state of either self-realization or God realization, right? It's not the time that matters. So then what is this time? These are the devatas who are in this path of Archira, so Archiradi or white path. Those devatas will receive the Atma, will take to the next level like that. So on that path, Atma finally reaches the Viraja river. Okay, it's not in the sloka, but let us complete complete the knowledge there. Like otherwise, you'll say, "Oh, what happens after that?" Right? So Atma reaches Viraja, and then takes a dip in the Viraja river. Okay, and then crosses it. When Atma takes a dip in that Viraja river, it gets rid of the Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body that it is carrying. Right? It gets rid of it. Okay, and Atma gets us the Divya Sarira, the divine body. So when Atma is going from one body to another body, it is carrying Sukshma Sharira. We learned that, right? And what is contained in Sukshma Sharira. So when Atma leaves that body, let's say in the final stage, then Atma, let's say that self-realized or God-realized, then Atma goes in the Archiradi Marga, and then it reaches Viraja, takes a dip in the Viraja river, then it gets rid of the Sukshma Sharira and gets a divine Sharira, divine body. After that, doesn't have to take birth again. So from there, Kaivalyardi and Moksharthi. Kaivalyardi are the ones who are seeking self. Moksharthi are the ones who are God, seeking God. They get separated. Okay, so Kaivalyardi goes to the place where they can experience Atma, pure state of Atma. Okay, which is also a bliss, right? forever, because they don't take birth again. And then moksha, they reaches the place where they can experience the bliss of Paramatma and serve Paramatma forever. So that is a Paramapada. So, got it? So they are not the daytime and Tarayanam and all this Agni means fire that we are thinking of on earth. Okay, so they are the devatas corresponding to those departments. Okay, so the designated devata for Agni, when Agni devata is the one who will take the Atma, move in the Archiradi marga.
So just to clarify and just to recap on that, confusing for me. So Paramatma, yeah. So when time comes, right, when Atma leaves the body, so the Atma is going to travel through, right, these different gates, Agni and Agni transfers next Devata, kind of a thing, right? Okay. Irrespective of when Atma leaves the body, right? I mean, it doesn't matter whether Uttarayanam, Dakshinayam, right? So that's what he's saying, right? And so it travels all the way at different kind of gates and finally reaches Girija River, from where the path gets diverted to Kaivalyatir Moksha.
Yes. Yes.
So yogi who dies in Dakshinayam doesn't have to take that dark path. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
If God's blessing is there, even
Yes.
though he dies, he goes to Agni Devata and then so on.
Yes.
Okay, so that's not what I was thinking. I thought no matter what it is, like he has to pass through the dark path as well, and then go to the brighter side.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, there are prerequisites on what we need to do in order to, if we are seeking wealth, if we are seeking Atma, or seeking Paramatma. Okay. Then we are doing that activity. Let's say we are remembering Paramatma at that moment and thinking that Paramatma is the only one I need. I'm seeking Paramatma only. Okay, not even thinking about ourselves. So that is very, I mean, again, if God blessing should be there, but so then Paramatma will will enable the Atma to travel in the path of Achiradi. Okay. The path which starts with fire, that is Agni, or another word is Archihi. So, and then it has, next step is light. So we call it as white path. Okay. So then it goes from there. Then, okay. So basically, Lord Krishna is explaining that to us that there is a separate path for each. And if you are seeking God, you will go in this path. If you are seeking wealth, you will go in this path. If you don't, if you are not thinking of Paramatma at all, doing all kinds of bad activities, not thinking of Paramatma, then you go in a different path altogether. And then take birth. So only the Achiradi Marga is, we don't take birth again. We don't take another body again. We get a divine body, and then we will either be happy with ourselves, or we will be happy with Paramatma. mean, Paramatma is also there with Kaivalya, those who are in self-realized state, but they're not serving Paramatma. So 9:30. Any questions? No? Okay, thank you everyone. Conclude the concluding prayer. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु ओम
अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः जय श्रीमन्नारायण
जय श्रीमन्नारायण everyone.
जय श्रीमन्नारायण
Happy Ugadi to
Jai
everyone.
Shri Manana, sir.
Thank
Happy
you.
Ugadi.
Jai Shri